Today, I'm going to tell you about Zebulon Montgomery Pike, my great-great-great-great-uncle on my dad's side.
Wow.
My Uncle Zeb was resting on his patio one July afternoon in 1804 when a postman walks up and hands him a letter from the President of the United States of America, Thomas Jefferson. See, back then, Uncle Zeb was known as Captain Pike, and he made a name for himself fighting Indians up in the Northern Territories. The letter asked if he would head out west to a town named The Springs and help settle a dispute with one of the locals. You see, the town had wanted to put on the biggest fireworks display west of the Mississippi, but a local troublemaker had stopped them from doing it. Perhaps Captain Pike could ride out there with some of his men and resolve the issue. With little more than a jug of his 180 proof, high-octane Iowa moonshine, just for courage, Uncle Zeb and his men headed west on their horses. 2 weeks later, they arrived at the town called The Springs at the base of the majestic Rocky Mountains. The mayor of the town wasted no time showing them around the town. He showed them the town market. He showed them the saloon. He showed them the storage shed where sat a huge pile of fireworks. My Uncle Zeb agreed. That would make for a fantastic fireworks display. So he decided to help and said to the mayor, "Now show me where this troublemaker is that I've heard so little about." The mayor took the men outside of town, at the base of the mountain, to the mouth of a deep, dark cave. Right there in that cave is where that troublemaker lives. In that cave, Uncle Zeb took a swig of his 180 proof high-octane Iowa moonshine, just for liquid courage, and calls a huddle of his men to strategize. After a few minutes, the mayor comes over and says, "I can see you have some trepidations. I'll make you a deal. If you can go into that cave and take care of our troublemaker so that we can have the biggest fireworks display west of the Mississippi, I'll rename the tallest mountain in your honor." Uncle Zeb says to the mayor, "I'll do it." He grabs a torch and a bottle of his 180 proof high-octane Iowa moonshine, just for courage, and walks into that deep, dark cave alone. "Hello, hello, hello. Is anybody in there? In there, in there?" Zeb's stomach was growling because he hadn't eaten for 2 weeks. He turns around to go get some dinner, and blocking his path out of the cave, there stands a dragon with scaly skins, huge fangs, and huge sharp claws. But Uncle Zeb kept his cool, and as that dragon raised up his claw to swipe my uncle down, Uncle Zeb reaches out his hand and says, "Hello, dragon. I'm Captain Zebulon Pike of the U.S. Army. What's your name?" Dragon steps back for a minute. No humans ever asked him that question. They usually just cower in the corner and pee themselves. It was intrigued. So it shook my uncle's hand and said, "My name's Royal Gorgina of England." She was a female dragon, and royalty at that. Well, for the next several hours, they traded stories from their homeland. Zeb talked about how he drove back the Indians, and Royal Gorgina told of how she'd pop the heads off English knights and eat them for breakfast. She thought my uncle was cute. Finally, Zeb said, "Well, let's get to it. I'll bet that I can best you at running, I can best you at swimming, or anything else you choose. If you can do it, I can do it better." Knowing that a dragon's weakness is pride and a gambling problem. "If I win, you have to let these town people light off their fireworks. And if you win, you get to eat me for dinner." Well, Royal Gorgina thought that was a fine bet and decided on a fire-breathing competition, knowing full well that humans can't breathe fire. She took a deep breath and blew out a 40-foot fireball, illuminating the entire cave so Zeb could see the bones of the men who'd come in there before him. Now it was Uncle Zeb's turn. He bent down, took a mouthful of that 180 proof high-octane Iowa moonshine, lit it with a torch, and blew out a 100-foot fireball, singeing the top of that dragon's head. Royal Gorgina's pride fizzled. Now she was mad, and Uncle Zeb knew she wasn't going to leave him alive. So he took off running out the mouth of that cave. And right as he made it into the evening sky, he heard a kaboom! And 40 tons of rock came crashing down into the mouth of that cave. See, as Uncle Zeb and that dragon were talking, Zeb's men were busy planting those fireworks into the rocks above the cave. And as he left that cave, his men lit those fireworks and blew up those rocks, causing them to come crashing down and sealing Royal Gorgina into that cave. And everyone agreed it was the biggest fireworks display they'd seen west of the Mississippi. Now Uncle Zeb was worried that dragon might someday escape, so he built a fort near that cave to keep an eye on her. That fort became a base, and that base became an Air Force Academy. So if you ever visit that peak named after Captain Zeb Pike in Colorado Springs, be sure to visit the Royal Gorge, where some say you can still hear that dragon breathing behind those rocks, waiting for her chance to get out and best my Uncle Zeb.